Welcome to episode 397 of AI Brief. We have a very distinct mix of topics for you today.
We certainly do.
We're looking at a new specialized gym designed to teach AI how to do, well, chemistry.
And some surprising new numbers about who's actually using AI at work.
Plus, we have this collection of amazing science stories, including, and I love this, computers made of traffic jams and a cow that might understand physics better than we thought.
It sounds a bit all over the place, but there really is a thread here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing this move away from, generic intelligence toward these very specialized, highly effective applications, whether that's in a pharma lab or, as we'll get to, in a barn.
Right. And of course, we'll have a rundown of the trending AI productivity tools you need to know about. But let's start with this major update from Insilico Medicine. They've just announced the launch of something called the Science MMAI Gym.
This is a really pivotal moment for applying large language models, LLMs, to the hard sciences. I mean, up until now, we've mostly been using general purpose models.
The ones trained on, the entire internet.
Exactly. And those models are incredible at conversation or, say, writing code. But they often struggle when you drop them into a super technical domain, like medicinal chemistry or biology.
You tend to hallucinate, right?
They do. And in drug discovery, a hallucination isn't just a wrong answer. It's a potential safety hazard or a wasted billion-dollar investment.
Because physics and chemistry have very strict rules. You can't just vibe your way through a molecular bond.
Precisely. So Insilico Medicine built this gym to specifically train LLMs for these fields. It's a domain-specific environment. It basically forces the models to reason with incredibly high precision.
And we're talking about biology, target discovery, clinical development, all of it.
All of it.
They're claiming some, massive efficiency numbers here. The brief I saw mentioned a 10x performance gain.
That's the headline statistic, yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to an untrained general-purpose model, the models that go through this gym are performing up to 10 times better on these complex scientific reasoning tasks.
That feels incredibly significant. I mean, drug discovery is notoriously the bottleneck of the entire medical industry. It takes years.
It can take upwards of a decade. So if you can use a model that bridges that gap between just generative text and actual scientific reasoning, you are fundamentally changing the timeline for developing new drugs.
This isn't just about a chatbot answering questions.
No, not at all. It's about having an AI that can reliably participate in designing new medicines.
And this is available now for companies to use.
It is. They've opened it up to pharmaceutical companies, biotech firms, AI labs. They're offering it in a few formats, too, from 2-week sprints to solve a specific problem, all the way up to long-term engagements.
So it's a real shift from AI can do everything pretty well to this AI does this one very hard thing perfectly.
That's the trend to watch.
Okay, speaking of trends, let's look at the human side of this. We have the Q4 2025 statistics on artificial intelligence in the workplace.
And the numbers here, they tell a story of consolidation, really. If you just look at the top line number, overall AI use among U.S. workers is flat. It's sitting right at 49%.
That seems low, doesn't it? After all this talk for years, half the workforce still isn't touching it.
Well, you could say the tourists have left. That's one way I'd read it. But if you look deeper, the intensity of the usage is climbing fast. Frequent use is up to 26%, and daily use has hit 12%.
So the people who aren't using it really aren't, but the people who are using it are becoming almost dependent on it.
Dependent in a very productive way. This 12% represents the power users. These are people in knowledge-based industries, finance, higher ed, tech, who have really integrated these tools into their core workflows.
And who are these people, specifically? Is it just junior coders automating tasks?
Interestingly, no. The data shows it's being driven significantly by leaders and people in remote-capable roles.
So management is figuring it out?
It suggests that, they're leveraging it for strategy and efficiency, not just, basic task automation.
It sounds like we are past the experimentation phase then.
I think we're entering the integration phase. Companies are no longer just asking, what can this chatbot do? They're asking, how does this specific tool fit into our digital transformation?
So the flat adoption rate is a bit misleading.
I'd say so. The deepening engagement is the real signal. It's about depth now, not breadth.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to shift gears a bit. We're going to slow things down because the science news this week is, well, it's just fascinating, and it requires a bit of a mental adjustment.
Let's do it. Where are we starting?
A study out of Japan about traffic.
Traffic, okay.
This is a concept that it really challenges our definition of what a computer even is. We think of computing as something that happens on a silicon chip using electricity.
Logic gates, binary code, all that, and a lot of power consumption.
Right, but these researchers are exploring something called physical reservoir computing. The whole premise is that you can use the natural chaotic dynamics of a physical system to process information.
And in this case, that physical system is...
The traffic flow of urban road networks.
Wait, you're telling me a traffic jam can do math?
In a way, yes. The researchers found that the complex interactions of cars braking, accelerating, turning, all of that creates a dynamic system. By using existing traffic sensors to read the state of this system, they could perform algorithmic tasks.
Specifically predicting future traffic.
Exactly. So the city itself becomes the processor.
Yeah.
The infrastructure becomes the computer.
That's amazing.
But here's the detail that I find incredible. The system doesn't work well when the roads are empty, and it doesn't work well when they're totally gridlocked.
It needs that sweet spot. It needs movement.
It needs complexity. They found peak predictive accuracy happens at medium-density traffic. This is often called the edge of chaos.
Where things are unpredictable enough to hold information, but structured enough not to be just random noise.
That is it. Precisely. At medium density, the interactions between drivers are at their most diverse. That diversity creates a rich computational reservoir, and the energy implications are huge. You aren't powering a new processor, you're just harvesting the computational power of a system that already exists.
That is mind-bending, using the traffic to compute the solution to the traffic.
It's computed with physics rather than fighting against it.
From the future of cities to the deep, deep past. We have a story about a fossil that has confused scientists for a century. Prototaxites.
This is a 400-million-year-old mystery. We found these fossils in places like Scotland, and they are massive. We're talking about organism structures that stood 26 feet tall.
And for context, 400 million years ago, what else was that tall?
Nothing. That's the whole point. This was long before dinosaurs, long before tall trees. These things just dominated the landscape. They look like giant tree trunks.
But they weren't trees.
For a very long time, the debate was intense. Was it a giant fungus? A lichen? Some kind of ancient plant? A new chemical analysis has finally given us a verdict.
And what is it?
It's none of them. The analysis confirms that prototaxites represents a distinct evolutionary branch.
A completely separate path of life.
Yes. Think of it as an independent experiment in creating complex life. Evolution tried to make something big and structural, and it succeeded for millions of years. These things ruled the Earth. And then that branch just stopped.
It really puts our own biosphere in perspective. We look around and think this is what life looks like, but the Earth has hosted entirely different versions of what it means to be dominant.
It's a reminder that evolution isn't a straight line leading to us, it's a branching bush. And some of those branches were massive, successful, and completely alien to what we know today.
Speaking of biology, let's talk about a breakthrough that is restoring a vital biological function. It's called a revoice collar.
This is a wonderful application of tech coming out of the University of Cambridge. They've developed a wearable collar for people who have lost their voice, particularly stroke survivors or those with motor neuron disease.
I've seen speech aids before, but they usually involve keyboards or even implants.
And that's the key difference here. This is non-invasive. The collar just sits on the throat and uses sensors to capture the subtle vibrations of the vocal cords and even the person's heart rate.
So it's reading the mechanical intent to speak, not the sound itself.
Exactly. It takes those vibrations and uses an AI model to reconstruct them into audible speech in real time.
And how good is the quality?
The testing showed a word error rate of just 4.2%.
That's incredibly low. That is conversational fluency.
Yes, it is. I mean, imagine being locked in by a stroke, where your mind is totally active but you can't communicate. This device doesn't just output text, it reconstructs your voice, it restores your agency. It's a lifeline that doesn't require brain surgery.
It's amazing, the sensors and the AI working together so seamlessly.
It really is something.
Okay, for our final science story, we have to talk about the cow.
The tool-using cow, yes.
I feel like we underestimate cows constantly, but this report suggests we are missing something really big.
This observation comes from researchers studying a Swiss brown cow. And they documented behavior that, well, it can only be described as sophisticated tool use.
Sophisticated implies more than just bumping into something by accident.
Oh, much more. This cow was observed using a deck brush.
Like a floor scrubber.
Exactly. And in these controlled trials, the cow would deliberately manipulate this brush. When she wanted to scratch her back, She would position the brush to use the bristles.
Okay, that makes sense.
But when she needed to scratch more sensitive skin areas, she would deliberately flip the brush over to use the smooth wooden handle.
So she knew the difference in texture. She understood the properties of the tool.
She understood that bristles are for rough spots and wood is for smooth spots, and she applied that knowledge to solve a specific physical problem.
That's abstract reasoning.
It is. We usually reserve that label for chimpanzees or crows. The scientists believe she probably learned this by watching humans use tools over the years.
So the capacity was always there. She just needed the inspiration.
It suggests that cattle may have these latent cognitive capabilities that we simply overlook because of how we manage them.
It definitely changes how I'll look at a field of cows next time.
They're watching you, and they might be taking notes on your tools.
Incredible. Okay, let's pivot to our final segment. We have a list of the trending AI tools popping up this week. It's a mix of coding, business, and creative apps.
Let's run through them.
First up is Claudebot. This one is generating a lot of buzz for one specific reason. It claims to be self-improving.
Which is kind of the holy grail for agents, right?
Yeah.
A bot that can write code, run it, see the error, and then rewrite its own code to fix it. That feedback loop is what separates a script from a true agent.
Next is Blink Agent Builder. Their pitch is that you can vibe code agentic AI apps.
A vibe coding is such a new term, but it's accurate. It means building software based on your intent and natural language rather than strict syntax. Just lowers the barrier for creating complex workflows.
Then we have ChartGen AI.
Pure utility. You feed it data, and it generates professional, boardroom-ready charts in seconds. It basically removes the friction of design from data analysis.
Noodle Seed.
Strange name. It's about connectivity. It connects businesses to AI conversations. So if you want your AI to actually know what's happening in your business in real time, you need a connector like this.
Pharma is pitching itself as a place where websites live and evolve.
And that's the move away from static web pages. Pharma suggests a web experience that changes and collaborates with the user via AI, rather than just sitting there waiting to be read.
For the developers, there's Mastra.
Right. Mastra is bringing AI agents to the TypeScript stack. And since TypeScript runs most of the modern web, this makes it incredibly easy for web devs to start building agents without learning a new language like Python.
And Tonkatsu.
If you have a team of agents, you need a manager. Tonkatsu lets you manage a whole fleet of coding agents from a single document. It's an orchestration tool.
For the startup founders, we have Interact Pitch.
This creates interactive pitch decks. But the killer feature is the insights it gives you. It tells you exactly how investors are interacting with your slides in real time.
And finally, OS Ninja.
This one is for learning open source. Those repositories can be massive and confusing. OS Ninja uses AI to help you navigate and understand the code. It's like a tour guide for complex software.
A lot of tools for building and managing agents this week.
That seems to be the theme. We're building the builders.
Well, that brings us to the end of the deep dive. From 10x gains in pharma to the surprising intelligence of cows, it's been a packed briefing.
It really highlights that intelligence, whether it's biological or artificial, is all about adaptation.
If you found today's deep dive useful, please make sure to follow the podcast and share it with a friend.
See you in the next episode.